morning. I'm so glad you can join me here at Red Pine Quilt Shop in Detroit Lakes, Minnesota. I'm Connie, and today I want to talk with you about making a group or community quilt. Sometimes these are also called memory quilts or friendship quilts. Why would you make a quilt like this? Well, perhaps you have a special occasion. In 1982, my hometown friends and neighbors made me this quilt. I'd just gotten married and had moved to Indiana. Another reason that you might make a quilt, a special occasion, graduation, a first job, or perhaps moving into a new home. Another reason to make a group quilt would be for support and encouragement. Recently, area family has had a fire, and this is a group quilt, the blocks that are being made. Notice that some people have written on it, and they've also included tags that would show their name. It's right here. So a quilt like that might be made for someone who has a serious illness. Perhaps there had been a death or a fire. Quilts can also be made to show appreciation and support. So our local quilt guild made this quilt for our library. It hangs on the wall there. It's one of the first things you see when you go in. I really think it's fun. You might also make a quilt for a guild president. So this is a quilt that was made for our quilt guild president as they went out. Notice that there's the similar color in the center. Or maybe if someone is leaving a job and they're moving on, you might make a quilt that would help them remember you. So those are the reasons you might choose to make a quilt. So how do you go about doing it? I think the number one important thing is to have a pattern that is clear, precise, and includes finished measurements and measurements of the block with the seam allowance. Now, it's really important that it be a realistic block for your most beginning quilter and your most experienced. I would suggest if you've chosen a pattern, send it out and just test drive it with a beginning sewer and also an advanced quilter. See what they say about it. Was it easy to follow? Were there any places they weren't sure what to do? So the pattern being realistic and well written is so important. This is the quilt pattern that was used for this maple leaf. Now, this pattern in particular I like because it did tell you how big that square was supposed to be. And then how big was it supposed to be as a whole block? And that was finished and also with the seam allowance. Another way that you might make the quilt go together easily would be to have the block a little larger, if possible. Then the person who's assembling the quilt can just trim it a bit. No, that isn't going to work with things that have points, but for some quilts it might. Please be respectful of copyright. There are so many free traditional patterns that would work well with this. I had a few ideas for you. What if you did just a simple 9-patch? I'm going to talk about color in a minute. For now, just stick with the pattern. So the simple 9-patch, if you framed it and then had sashing, that could be very interesting. What if you did a half square triangle, say in a 8-inch, 6-inch, 9-inch size, and then tell people this is where we want the dark and the light. Think of all the different secondary patterns you might do with that. Or maybe a 4-square that has the background. So 2 4-patches and 2 of the background. That could make a very interesting quilt. I'd like to also mention, what about using 2.5-inch strips? This could be cut. You could sew them together. You could frame them up with a sashing. I had a couple of other ideas that are a little more in line with the improv sort of thing that I've been doing recently. What if you did string quilts and told people to do them on the diagonal or horizontally? And I even wondered, what if people did long 2.5-inch strips of different lengths and they sewed a couple together that were, say, 60 inches wide or 80 inches wide, I could really imagine pretty easily you had these strips and you'd sew them together, and then what if you just cut one here and made a cut here and turn it around? You'd have an instant quilt. It would be very easy and it would be really interesting. So again, the patterns, traditional patterns work, other styles, just be sure that they're very clear on the size, the seam allowance, and the directions. So another thing that I'd like to talk about is color. If the pattern is most important, I think the color is probably the next most important item. Probably with the color and fabric, I would say just tell everyone 100% cotton, unless you don't care if you get corduroy or canvas or other fabrics in there. 100% cotton is going to make it pretty easy for the person to wash. Perhaps you give one fabric out, as in this case. All of us who made the blocks were given this center color fabric, and that helped to instruct us in what would work to go around it. You might say that you want to have the background in some sort of like a sky blue, and look at all those different blues, but they're going to blend in a very attractive way. This being a maple leaf, it was pretty obvious we're going to be using some fabrics that have that kind of fall color. I had a little fun with this one. This is bacon. And I kind of thought bacon was a fun way to play with the fabric a bit. Remember that 5 or 6 colors together have to go together. But if you have 26 different fabrics and colors, just because it's such a variety, they are going to go together. Especially if you establish what your background would be, your neutral, navy, black, gray, white, cream. Those are all going to help with the design and the color. Another thing that you might do for color is to use a color tool or a swatch book. And maybe this is for your inspiration, or maybe it's a way to share the colors. I've often liked to use the dots on the selvage. And those of you who have listened to my lives before, you know I have a thing for selvages. But this is an excellent way to come up with some colors that are going to coordinate. And I find myself drawn to magazine covers. So these magazine covers would be a great, look at that intense blue and red in the white. Just as an inspiration for some color choices. Here we've got the, the cream background and the kind of lime and the darker green and the peachy kind of rosy color. So those are other ways you might choose colors or share them with others. Paint strips at the hardware store. We can't say, let's make the quilt blue, because there are just too many blues. But what if you shared people this blue, or here, or more of a teal? And of course, some of those standbys, you can say pastel, vintage 30s, maybe you say brights, jewel tones, batiks, low volume. Those are all going to be pretty easily understood by everyone. Here was a great idea that I saw, and this is from a blog named A Few Scraps. So this lady has made a lot of group quilts, and she asks that the people who give her a block also give her scraps of the fabric they included in the block. She uses these scraps for a scrappy border, which is just perfect for the blocks because it's the same fabric. Again, that idea came from a blog called A Few Scraps. I'm definitely going to want to try that myself. So we've talked about pattern, color. Now let's talk about how you assemble it and organize the timeline. Be realistic. Life happens. These are not going to happen in a week. I would say 3 to 4 weeks is probably a good amount of time. After your deadline of when you should have the blocks sent to you, I would recommend you wait 5 days or so. And that way, those that are stragglers, you're still going to be able to include them easily into your finished quilt top. I'd say early on, decide at the beginning, who's going to pay for the long arm? Who's going to, how are you going to pay for the batting and the backing? Because those can be expensive. Maybe it's the group, maybe individuals will step up to sponsor it. So on the assembly, don't trim your blocks. Let the person who's sewing them together trim them. You could also frame or sash the blocks. That's one really good way to put them together and kind of unify them. When you're laying them out, choose the block or two that really catch your eye, that are engaging. Put those in the middle. And then you can balance the other blocks, the lighter blocks, put one on one side, one on the other. Darker blocks, put one on the top, one on the bottom. So you're balancing them. If you have some blocks that are kind of strange, and I'm not sure exactly what that would mean, but you could balance those too. I often take a photo of the blocks or the design top when I have it laid out, and then I change it to mono on my phone so that I can see how do the darks and lights work together, and then I can make adjustments. But that's just one tool that I found to be a really good way to lay out my quilt blocks. So troubleshooting, what happens if you have too few blocks? You can ask people to make more. You could put in a whole block of the background fabric or coordinating fabric and just kind of sprinkle those throughout the top. What if you have too many blocks? Well, make a pillow, use the blocks in the backing as a little bit of a surprise design element. That also would work well if you got some blocks that came in late. If some of your blocks come in and they're too small or too large, if you have been using framing and sashing, you can adjust and it's not going to show very much. A block that is really too small, maybe it would work well if you have other blocks to go in the backing, and it would be an extra design for the back of the quilt. So again, the most important thing is to have a clear, well-written pattern. The next important, I think, would probably be to choose the color scheme. I'm kind of leaning toward the more colors you use, the more fabrics you use, the easier it's going to be to blend it, but you can always give some direction for what the colors might be. And finally, you need to be realistic and patient. This should be fun. And if you're patient and realistic and you're prepared for unexpected things to happen, I think you're going to end up creating a quilt that isn't just a quilt. It's a message. It's going to be an heirloom and a special thing in somebody's home and family for many years to come. Thanks for joining me, and I hope that you can do a group quilt.